I'm delighted to have with me Mitch, who is well known here in the Isle of Man, the pizza and pasta man, as we call him.
Thank you very much.
You've joined me many times in the past talking about how the state of your industry is. And we've been trying to catch up since Manx Grand Prix ended. You've been busy with your staff, as always.
Yep.
But here we are. I mean, I wasn't here for much of it, but I mean, obviously the weather didn't help. But it's not, from all accounts, been a very profitable time for your industry.
Well, I'm in a fortunate position, Paul, that my business has done incredibly well. It's a bit of a destination. I spend a lot of time in Google, I spend a lot of time in Facebook and various things like that. So people know the business, they know when they're coming across, and it's quite funny to see. We get bookings in December time for TT and for Manx. But not everyone's in the position that I'm in. And I talk to 1,200-1,500 people a week, and that can be riders, it can be marshals, it can be visitors, it can be everything. And this year has been horrendous. You touched on it, the weather wasn't particularly friendly, but you'll remember the times when it used to pour at TT or it used to pour at the Manx, and what happened? The pubs went through the roof because everyone piled into there. I just think at the moment that I think it's expensive to come to the island. I think once people are here, they're finding it fairly expensive. But the other thing as well is they used to come across the old setup. I think people preferred.
Well, this is what we're getting down to, because they've tinkered with it a lot over the years, haven't they? And it's much more compact now, I think, isn't it?
Well, you go back to the days and you had the small motorbike people that worked on the bikes overnight. They raced the next day, they maybe had a day off, or they worked on their bikes, and then so forth and so forth. The marshals managed to get a bit of a holiday, so they toured around the island in the days off before they were marshalling. Now that doesn't happen. It's bang, 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 bang all the way through. And they feel it's more and more like a job. And they don't come to the Isle of Man to work, they come to enjoy themselves.
But is that an old guard thing anyway that's just disappearing? You know, the Manx Grand Prix is an older sort of, well, I'll probably get told off for this one, but it appears to attract an older crowd. Would that be fair to say?
Well, I'm probably one of that older crowd, to be honest with you, Paul. I love going up and down the prom and looking at the bikes, because those bikes are my era. These are the dream bikes that you had when you were 17, 18, 19, your early 20s, and even earlier actually. But there's not the same amount around, and I think it's the ferry hassles have not helped us. But the weather hasn't helped us. But saying that, I said at the end of the day, if it's easy to get on and off the island and cost effective, I won't say cheap, because that's the wrong word to use. It has to be cost effective to get on and off the island. And when people are here, they have to have things to do. That's dying very, very quickly.
Okay, so is it just the Manx Grand Prix we're talking about here, or are we now broaden this out into tourism and getting people into the Isle of Man?
The Manx Grand Prix is obviously the one that comes to mind at the moment. It's very much the one that was only a couple of weeks ago, so we're still living from that. And we still see some of the tourists coming across, and I think there's probably still one or two dotting about, because we still see one or two of the foreign motorbikes. But touching on the tourism as well, I think it is very expensive to get on and off the island, and more so what's been happening with the cancellation of ferries, cancellation of flights. It's ridiculous, and I don't know what the answer is. God, if I knew what the answer was, I would be jumping up and down. I just don't know. It's as if people no longer care, which is horrible.
So this is not now to do with tourism. This is just people living here as well. I mean, everyone feels that angst, the roulette wheel of travelling almost, isn't it? Will it go? Won't it go? Is it worse than it's ever been? It seems to me as that, but is it just we got used to having so many more options? I don't know.
I think you might find social media plays a lot about it, because everyone just is on their phone. As soon as something's delayed for 5 minutes, it's a storm in a teacup.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I honestly do feel, haven't travelled much off the island this year, but the times I have travelled, your heart's in your mouth that A, you're going to get off if you've got a connecting flight. B, you're actually suggested to book a night in a hotel in the UK just in case the flight's cancelled. That's no way in a modern society that when we can't travel as and when we require.
And because there was these 2 flights in the air from London a couple of weeks ago, both had to go back. Now, still, I don't know what happened. Something happened at here that had to close the air traffic controls. And it could have been, obviously, it could be very much mission critical. Someone went ill or whatever. But again, it's everything's running right close to the market, it seems, isn't it? We didn't seem to hear these stories in the past, but maybe it is social media.
I think social media plays a big thing on the likes of that, because everyone knows this, that, and the next thing, or shares this, that, and the next thing, and it just is. It's just out in a flash now, where before it would take a couple of days before it got round, and it was the old analogy of send reinforcements, we're going to a dance, as opposed to send reinforcements, we're going to advance.
Right, well, now I've got you here, because 10 years ago you were doing your nightclub. It's just come up on my timeline thing. That's the story. But you moved over here, you got into this business, you know it well in the UK. And I remember, and it wouldn't probably 10 years ago, but we certainly have had conversations about getting staff and keeping staff, and the hoops that people have to jump through at certain periods to get these work permits. Now, we were told it was all going to get better, and we've done that interview. So I thought, and we were planning this, but what's your take on it now? Is it a good place to come and work? Can people get here easily, and can you get the work permits?
Can people get here easily? Probably not.
Well, we discussed that, yeah, I suppose.
When they're here, is there anything really to do? Not a lot. Right. Trying to get people on to work with the work permits and various things are as bad as ever.
No, you see, that is incredible, because we were talking about how it was like a 5-week period.
It's crazy.
But they promised. This is the government said things were going to be really speeded up, because you can't wait 5 weeks for a chef, and the chef's not going to wait for you for 5 weeks. I think that's where we went last time.
That's right.
And they were promising it. And this is years ago, that they were going to make some big differences. So from the coalface, what's it like now? How long does it take you to get your stuff cleared for a work permit?
It can take 4 or 5 months. I've been speaking to people since the last person I brought across probably took me 5 months to get. I then had a couple of people that worked in the bar from me from South Africa. They were due to start, I think it was the August. I think they basically came onto the island in November, or tail end of November or December, and that's from South Africa, where there's supposed to be an easier route onto Ireland, but it's not getting any better.
And I'm talking about 5 weeks. It's 5 months.
5 months, yeah. The other thing as well is I can understand some of the frustrations, because from what I'm told, a lot of it is controlled by the UK. And the UK is in such a disarray at the moment. They don't know what's happening.
So it's not the Isle of Man end?
I don't know. I think there is some of the Isle of Man end, and that's when they need to put on the big boy trousers and decide that they're going to do it themselves. Because I've had some wonderful people working for me that have been in the seasonal visas, and obviously because of the hassle we had with, I think it might have been the gaming company or some other company, they pulled the worker migrant. Which meant you now have to have an English language test, which, to be honest with you, if they gave it to me, I probably wouldn't be able to pass it, but they expect these people that English isn't their first language to pass it. And I had one guy, a chef from Dubai, that had an average of 5.5. Now you have to have 4 on everything. He had a 7 in speaking, but he had a 4 in reading. Not a 4, a 3.5 in reading. They wouldn't let him in.
And that costs money, right, to go through these things?
Yeah, it costs money for them to go through their international, I think it's IELTS.
Yeah. So they can't get into the UK, not just the Isle of Man, right? This is further up the whole thing, the system. So what's the solution? Because, there's always a shortage of staff in that business you're running, right?
I think the easiest way, and I've had some, I was screaming out for one particular person that was on the worker migrant visa, which means they're allowed to be on here for nine months, then they have to leave the island for 3, and then they can come back after that. So it's handy for the summer periods or when you're busy that you get the correct staffing. And this person, unfortunately, during the second time when he was trying to apply, we were told that he could apply whilst he's on island, but he had to leave for 3 months. He applied on island, he was told, no, you can only apply when you're off island. So the 3 months then became 6 months, because you had to be 3 months off the island before you could apply. So it then becomes 6 months, and then that's when they pulled the seasonal visa. Now this guy was a grafter.
Who pulled it? The Isle of Man or the UK again?
Isle of Man. It's still available in Guernsey and Jersey, but Isle of Man have pulled it.
When there's a shortage of staff, and that's incredible.
I think it's just down to either their workload or their due diligence or whatever. But I would say 95, maybe 96% of the trade employ good people, look after the people and work with the people. You'll always get a few rogues in, regardless of whatever industry you're in, Paul. And I felt really strongly about this. I went to Clare Christian about it. I went to a number of other MHKs to say, listen, this is a huge problem that we have. And the island is wanting people to come and live here. And there's an easier way of doing it rather than trying to attract jobs. Why not invest in the UCM and make it a proper university?
Mm-hmm. That comes up all the time, doesn't it?
I don't know why they won't spend money on it and actually make it a proper university. They've got the old prison site. They could put a 400-bedroom campus on there.
Yeah.
They could go on to the internationals. The Isle of Man is a wonderful place to live, and it's the sort of place that we should be shouting at from the rooftops.
Again, 10 years ago, it was all going to happen. There was going to be some sort of centre of excellence, but of course that never happened.
It's never happened.
Okay. We've read one of the radio stations ran this piece saying that a company didn't move to the Isle of Man because the bureaucracy was so much. Do you think that's part of the problem here, the Isle of Man? Because some people work in the civil service here, and there's this problem at the top of the Isle of Man civil service, which I've gone into many times, where things are clearly not right, but nothing's changed. Is this where there's a bad taste in your mouth, that you feel that the Isle of Man government isn't on your side? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but especially you rely on getting these work permits, but you see these things from your business. So.
Well, Paul, I'm incredibly opinionated when it comes to things like that.
That's why you're here.
I'm fairly straight talker.
What do you think?
I think they don't care. Honestly,
civil service.
The civil service don't care. They squander money right, left, and centre. I've seen some reports that were done back in 2006, 2012 by well-respected industry leaders to say that the government needs to slim down, it needs to be more efficient, it needs to be this, that and the next thing.
They're getting bigger, aren't they?
Oh, it's bloated beyond belief.
But as I in my quest, we did prove the fact that the civil service is running the Isle of Man, basically.
Yes, yeah.
And the MHK seem powerless. You get me. I shouldn't be saying this, but it is so annoying because it's so many people come up to me and say these things. The perception. Let's put it this way. The perception is what I've just said.
Yep.
I don't know if it's true in the sense. Well, I can have a surmise on it, but isn't this a problem that people don't have that good feeling about the Isle of Man?
My own personal feeling, and this is a personal view, is I think we've lost the plot. I think where the island used to be a wonderful place to come, live, open a business, run a business. I think it's still a wonderful place to come to. I think it's still a fantastic place to live. Business, that's a $69 question.
Yeah.
Is it a good place to do business? Well, we had that. We saw the interview yesterday from the girl in Dubai that said the red tape is not. And I personally have found a lot of red tape. If you try and do something here, the approval process just takes forever and a day.
Is there an answer? I mean, besides you getting into politics or doing that sort of thing, I mean, is there a thing that the Chief Minister should be doing? I mean, he hasn't changed his civil service. The top people who are clearly, there's something very strange. I mean, I hear from other civil servants and they say there's a huge problem with the gatekeeper sort of thing. Even what I've been through, hasn't rattled them enough, and no one got disciplined, no one got moved, no one got any sort of sanctions. Even though we proved clearly that they were keeping stuff back from the MHKs, it's incredible, isn't it? Do you think?
I think it's ridiculous. And I've said this publicly before, Paul. If this was if Isle of Man government was a PLC, it'd be bust by now.
Yeah.
I get very frustrated when they make a mistake and they don't even have the gumption to say to the people that vote them in. Sorry, they won't say sorry.
They just can't do that.
It's someone else's fault, or it's this or it's that. I'll take it in the chin. I've done things wrong, and I'm the first thing I'll say to someone is,
but that's all you need
sorry.
to do. But that, as you say, it's
and try and fix it.
But their mindset has been totally. Their playbook has been to not to play that version. I mean, it makes common sense. I think to everyone that'll be watching this, just hold your hand up.
Just say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you look at the mess up and what we spoke about with MGP. I said to someone a few weeks ago, I think the island's trying to kill the MGP. That's from the outside looking in, and I know there's some incredibly passionate people there in the motorsports division that want this to work and try, but it must be like trying to do a job with one arm.
I think this year,
the back.
Not only as you say, but the size of this whole thing now, but the weather, it was, and the boat having a little problem. It was almost like everything was going to go wrong almost. Yeah. It felt like everything was set against that thing. Mm-hmm. But is anyone listening?
No. I've as I say, I've spoken to some MHKs, and you don't get a quick turnaround. If someone said to me, Mitch, you got a problem in your business, and I can give you some pointers, I would be picking up the phone and saying, when can you come and see me?
Sorry, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, after this interview goes out, somebody high up in the civil service would be going, right, come in, let's hear it, let's see what we can do. But that has never, and you've done a few interviews with me, and other places.
Yeah.
You don't get any of that sort of feedback?
No, I don't get any of that feedback.
They're entrenched?
I think they are, and I think they're delusional sometimes.
Wow.
It's the rose-tinted spectacles, everything's fine out there when the garden's overgrown.
Okay, well, as you say, that thing with bureaucracy was pretty huge. It's a whole company that looked at it and said they couldn't move here because I suppose it's over-governed, isn't it? Bureaucracy, red tape, and as I say, you watch this directly from your business. How is that side of things, by the way, in general? Because the Isle of Man people, they're coming out, they're spending their money. Are they? I mean,
Paul, as I said to you right at the start of this, I don't have a problem. We've got a great, what do you call it? We've got a great product.
Yeah.
It's at the right price. It's consistent. We don't try and be something we're not.
No, but you've always battled with staff. I mean, there's nothing else. I've seen you down there, and you've been working everything because people have not turned in or whatever. So it's still an issue in that sense, is it? I mean,
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Cleaner's on holiday this week, so 7 o'clock this morning I hit to be the cleaner.
Toilet.
So I've hoovered the floor, I've mopped the floor, I've cleaned the toilets, I've polished the mirrors, I've done all that, and I've cleaned the glass as well.
You don't want people to feel sorry for you, though, do you? You're doing all right.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's an absolute buzz. And where else do you get people that have their hard-earned cash come in and see you week after week, day after day? And it's not a job, it's entertainment. It's great fun because I get to chat to people, and that's how you get to know them. That's when you get the inside scoops of what people are thinking about the island. Yeah. I'm not alone in my thoughts. Okay,
well, let's hope they pick up the phone and chat to you rather than send you a slap, the legal letter, and try and shut you up because they don't like what you're saying, which is, you couldn't make that up if you tried. Totally and utterly the wrong way of doing things. But again, that's a mindset issue over here that we've got to sort out. Oh, not me, you.
Well, I refer to most governments as democratic dictatorship.
Yeah.
So we vote them in and they just tell us what to do.
The Isle of Man could be so good, couldn't it?
It could be a phenomenal place. It could be. As I say, I go back to the first time I think I set foot on the Isle of Man was 2004 at the TT, and I was coming off the Ben McCree, and I felt as if I was coming home. Yeah. Paul, I had a house in Florida. I had a load of things. I used to jump around the world. And I have never, ever had that feeling in my life. I honestly felt as if I was coming home. And you get off a boat or plane now, what do you feel? Not really a lot. It's nice to come back to the island. It's numb though, isn't it? But it is. I feel like numbness. It's not. I've said to some of the politicians when I have spoken to them, what the island needs is a couple of quick wins. Show the people that have voted them in we're doing something. Give them a couple of quick wins. Yeah. That sets people's mindset to say, yeah, you know what, we are making progress. We are getting further. Of course, that e-gaming thing didn't help. Of course, that could have been the big white hope. I'm sure it was. The Cameron administration looking forward to hundreds of people working there, but of course that's completely now. But again, you go back to, and we touched on it briefly there about making it a university, attracting people to come and to come and study here, because you look at, if they come and study here, they'll work in hospitality during the study periods. When they're away in the summertime, you've got 300-400 bedroom effectively serviced apartments that they can rent out to the bikers, the tourists, or whatever, and then become a centre of excellence. People will come here, they might meet a partner, they might set up their family. I would like to know how much it's physically costing to bring people, and I know they want their 15,000 or 20,000. It seems to change on an annual basis, the focus of what they're wanting to do.
Well, it's chicken and egg. They've got to have the infrastructure in place anyway, haven't they? So that's fine. Finally, just on some good news, I think I talked to an estate agent. With the Labour government doing the rattling things, there's potential the high earners going to come back over here because they don't want to be under a Labour government. But it hasn't yet followed through. There's still the rest of the market is still sort of sluggish, I suppose. But is it a good thing, do you think, a Labour government? I mean, do you think they're even going to let people just move over here? Or those days over, do you think?
I think those days are well and truly over.
Yeah.
I would like to think it was easy and straightforward, but we hark back to the original thing of it's got to be easy and efficient to get on and off the island. Yeah. And if you can't do that, we don't all have a private jet, we don't all have our own private boats or whatever it is. It would be nice if we did, though, Paul.
Sure. Not in my pay scale. Okay, we'll leave it there. It's been honestly, I think people watch these things because we have more people watching it from outside the Isle of Man than even in, but just to hear your side of things, and I'm happy to hear from other people who've got more positive things. But a wake up call is probably what you're saying.
Absolutely,
right?
It's got the opportunity to be a phenomenal place to live, work, set up business, but at the moment it's like treading through treacle.
And your phone is ready to receive a phone call?
I'll take any phone calls, whatever it is. You can Google my number, and it's on Google and everything, so I don't hide. I'm in the restaurant virtually every single day. Every second it's open.
Yeah, front of house, back house.
Whenever I'm behind the bar, anywhere I'm needed. The only thing I haven't done is made any pizzas or pastas.
Oh, really? You didn't know that?
I've never, not in the restaurant. I have elsewhere, but not in the restaurant. I've never made any pizzas or pastas. But it's a phenomenal island, and I feel really sad to see the way it's going at the moment, Paul. And I just hope to God that someone can get a good old shake and say, let's make this a brilliant island. Let's make it the envy of the UK, not hanging on to the coattails when the UK is disappearing down a black hole.